Thanks so much for being with us today. And I know you all kind of, know who's going to answer questions, so I'm just going to put them out there. I will say that I did get a chance to get a sneak look at Tudor Place, a wonderful place, I'll say, right in the middle of the District of Columbia that so many people don't know about. So we're happy to hear for you to be here to tell us what Tudor Place is and what is its mission.
Well, thank you so much, Denise, for having us on the show today. And thank you for coming out. Yes, so Tudor Place is a historic home museum and a 5.5-acre garden right in the middle of Georgetown, located at 1644 31st Street between Q Street and R Street. And our mission is to preserve the stories of 6 generations of descendants of Martha Washington and the enslaved and free African-descended people who lived and worked there. We are leaders in historic preservation, conservation, sustainability, and inclusive educational programming for all ages and communities. And our motto, which I love as a historian, I'm a professor, associate professor of history, French, and African American studies at George Mason University in Fairfax. Our motto is America's story lives here, because Tudor Place's history makes visible all the layers of America's history, from the pre-colonial age when indigenous Native American tribes lived on these lands, to the time of the founding fathers and slavery up through today. So it is a place and a history for and about all of us.
That's one reason why I wanted to come and visit, because it's amazing that we have such an amazing entity right here in our city. And as you know, the Washington Informer does an annual African American Heritage Tour. A lot of it is the places where we walk and shop, and we're walking the footsteps of so much history, and we don't even know it. We overlook it. So I think it's amazing that you are here to share this with us, Mark. Tell us, what's coming up, what are you all doing there at Tudor Place to try to get people in to see this jewel in our city?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having us here, Denise, and happy to share with people what's happening at Tudor Place. So right now we're wrapping up our field trip season. We have hundreds of students primarily from throughout the District of Columbia, but from elsewhere also, who are coming here. We do have a focus on Title I schools, so particular outreach to some of the schools where students don't have a lot of opportunities for field trips like this. One of the really featured activities we have right now is called Ancestral Spaces. And this is a combination of an installation in the historic house, as well as a guided tour experience that is focusing upon the people of African descent of Tudor Place. And the traditional narrative of this historic site has focused upon the 6 generations of the white Peter family who lived here. So we've kind of turned this on its head, and looking at the history of the site from the perspective of people principally who were enslaved here, or in one case, a person who was a freed slave who served here in the period after enslavement. So it is a way to look at the historic house very differently. It's a way that we can share more of the stories. And I think one of the things that has been quite interesting to us in having this experience is that visitors, after they've had the Ancestral Spaces experience, want to talk about it. They want to share what their reflections are, what their experience has been, and that's really gratifying. That's a lot of why we're here. We want to have a positive impact on people's lives and address some of the social injustice in the world around us. And so we have found that this program is doing that.
Dr. Christy and Mark, one of the things that I'm always, because I love, that's why we created our tour. And one of the frustrations that I used to have back in the day, that's changing now, and I want you all to address that, is that you would go to these historic places, maybe old plantations or what have you, and there was always this, the slaves lived over there.
Yeah.
And that was the extent of the conversation. There was nothing that was developed to show what the life was like for them or where they lived or, I mean, any more about them. It was just they lived over there. And here you all seem to have kind of pulled that together and even found some of the ancestors of the enslaved and others who were who lived there or worked there. Talk about that a little bit, because I want people to come. We're going to do our tour there, but I want people to come and see.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much. And yes, you know, this is such an important place and moment for Black history. So we have to remember that in addition to the white descendants of Martha Washington who were on this site starting in 1805, there were also generations of Black individuals, of African-American individuals, free and enslaved, who built the place, who lived at the site or who lived in the neighborhood of Georgetown, a historic Black neighborhood, and who worked on the site, caring for the home, caring for the gardens, pouring their creativity and their love into these spaces, and caring for people. And so what we want to communicate is that these individuals, these African-American individuals, are as important to the history of America and to the history of Tudor Place as the owners of the property, as the founders of the nation. So we know the institution of slavery fractured families and caused devastating trauma. Indeed, some of the first Black individuals at Tudor Place were sent from George Washington's plantation at Mount Vernon. And there was movement of these individuals from Tudor Place out to plantations. So despite this fracturing and the horrors of being owned by another person, these African-American individuals managed to impact the world around them and to maintain enduring kinship and community bonds. And we're so proud of this exhibit that was created by our curatorial team, led by Rob DeHart with Yana Recco, because it was done in collaboration with descendants, as you just mentioned, Denise, of these African-American individuals, including Ann Chin, Geraldine Cole, and Carl Haynes, who I know is going to be joining you on a future episode, which is so great. So this tour, we've taken over the main house. I just was at Monticello, and it's just what you were saying, Denise. The enslaved individuals and their story are interpreted in different spaces, not in the main house at all. Well, we went radical and took over the main house in ways that are, which is where these people worked and lived. So the fact of interpreting it otherwise is taking them out of the story. So we're just doing proper history right now in order to look at the historic house and gardens with these folks as a part of it, as they were, and see how they impacted the world around them, uncover their legacy. The visit features beautiful and highly expert work, carpentry work by Sam Collins, the stories of Sally Twine, Hannah Pope, Barbara Pope Williams, and of course the beloved gardener John Luckett, who also cared and had relationships with the Peter family children, these children who are descendants of Martha Washington. So we are truly honored and committed to be showcasing these families, bringing their stories to the forefront of history where they should be.
So that was wonderful, Christy. I mean, I was going to say, I wish we had recorded it, but we did record it. So we're going to make sure folks can hear that. And Mark, before we close, again, just tell us how long. I know that this exhibit may be closing soon. I was really excited to meet, while I was there, a young woman there on one of the dining room table or something. There's a floral arrangement, which was done sort of in, I can't remember how she described it, but sort of, depicting, I don't know museum talk, but depicting, depicting the items. You can tell us about that, but tell us how long can folks see this? Of course, we're going to do our tour, but how does this
Yeah, so and the particular item you're talking about is referred to as an ancestral altar. And so it's basically a dried flower work that is reflective of the experiences of people of African descent at Tudor Place. So Ancestral Spaces has been extended through the middle of October. And so people still have plenty of time to come here. One of the reasons we extended it, there was such great interest, not only from the public, but from representatives from other organizations who are coming, who have similar sites, who are coming, want to learn about what we have done here. And so the guided tours are provided on the hour from 10 until 4. The last tour is at 3 o'clock each day from Tuesday through Saturday, and noon to 4 on Sunday. And I would strongly recommend people go to our website, and you can learn more about this tour, learn more about the experiences of enslaved people at Tudor Place. But it's also where I would recommend that you register for one of the tours, because they do tend to fill up quickly. So encourage people to register in advance for those. Well,
Dr. Christy and Mark, I want to thank you so very much for being with us today, for sharing this real treasure in our community, an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the District of Columbia and its really, really interesting history, and the role that so many of us played in building the city. So thanks for being with us. We're going to make sure that folks get there, but we'll see you soon. We're going to bring a crowd. So looking forward to having that opportunity. Anything you wanted to share before we close out?
Last thing I would say, I just encourage people again to go to our website. It's tudorplace.org. It's a great place again to learn about our organization and hopefully get engaged with us.
Great. And you'll find ways to donate and to volunteer and other things to make sure that we hold on to this treasure. All right. You all have a great day.
Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
All right. Thank you.